We speak about unintentional production deviations today. We will not surprise you. So I started with the definition just for the purpose of this presentation. This might not be a definition you might find anywhere at the moment, but maybe in the future you might find it like that or a bit adjusted. If you go to the next slide, I will clarify why the definitions includes the reference to manufacturing data, because there is a distinction between design data and manufacturing data, as you may know. The design data is defined by the design approval holder. The manufacturing data is created by the manufacturer on the basis of the design data. And when essentially the manufacturing is executed, essentially the manufacturing data tells how the part has to be manufactured and inspected. And the goal is, of course, is to conform ultimately to the design data, which can be approved design data or applicable design data, whether the design approval holder is an holder or an applicant of design, right? And let's go to the next slide. Next slide. So during inspections, during manufacturing inspections, there are certain inspections during manufacturing. Certain inspections are performed, and to determine conformity with the manufacturing data, okay, and ultimately to confirm conformity with the design data. And if a deviation is detected, then there is a non-conformity. A non-conformity is, let's say, raised within the production environment. Let's go to the next slide. And what is the non-conformity? Essentially, is a difference between the intended manufacturing data and the measured characteristics of the part that is being produced. And this may indicate a non-conformity with the design data, but not necessarily, because it might be that if the sequence of production tasks has been changed, but these do not affect the ultimate conformity with the design data, you might not have a non-conformity with the design data, right? So let's go to the next. And well, management of this non-conformity is typical. So they are detected, recorded, evaluated, and then a disposition decision is made. What are the possible outcomes? The scrap, rework, repair, uses or request of concession to the design approval holder or applicant. Of course, the dispositions, repair and uses, if let's say decided within the production environment, are based on previously approved data by the design approval holder or applicant. Next slide. I'm going fast just to recover a bit of time because it should be simple. In case you have questions, we can talk about it later. Okay, the regulatory context. Part 21 requires that products must conform to an approved design data, that production must control the non-conforming parts, and the design organization to support the evaluation of the deviations of the non-conformities. And this requires, of course, coordination between the design and production, which is regulated by the Part 21A4 in Part 21, the paragraph 4. Let's go next. And of course, if, as we seen before, if the non-conformity cannot be addressed within the production environment, a concession request must be, let's say, submitted at the attention of the design approval holder or applicant. And the design approval holder evaluates, and it may allow use of the under defined conditions of the part that is not conforming. Essentially, to accept the part for the intended use it has to have. Because the intended use is important sometimes to be known for the design approval holder or applicant to make an appropriate decision. So there is a difference whether the part has to fly or not. If it is for a ground test, developmental test, certification test, you may imagine. Let's go next. The we have released, I think most of you know, a DORA review item for introducing an alternative means of compliance with Part 21 recently. This is the reference number. And the objective was to clarify the treatment of concessions under the DOA privilege by providing simplifications based on good practices we have observed over the years with the industry, and at the same time ensure compliance of the released, let's say, part under concession with the airworthiness requirements. Let's go next. We have also initiated cooperation with the industry within the stakeholder advisory body activity group 006.3. And the focus is to define a common terminology, a process workflow which goes, the scope of which is larger than the DORA review item, which was only about the DOA privilege, to clarify the interaction between production and design, and to introduce additional simplification to the process. And the objective is to provide essentially advice for possibly a rulemaking task in the future. Let's go next. And within this, let's say, activity group, we have also been discussing about the comments we have received to the DORA review item. We have received comments from various parties, including the FAA, and we are still discussing, still in discussion. And as I said, this might provide an output, as the output might be a recommended rulemaking change. Next, yes. So key message, unintentional production deviations are a normal aspect of manufacturing. Effective management require clear processes, coordination between production and design, and consistent regulatory interpretation, which is important. That's it. Do you have any question?
Yes, there are some.
So we have some questions. I'm really impressed how you can keep time. I invite you to my next meeting for sure.
Well, I understood that I had to be fast.
You cannot deviate from the agenda. It's pragmatic. Let's project the one we saw.
It's an intentional deviation.
Exactly. So these are...
Want to read the first one?
Yes, I can read. So for ETCO, how can be managed the non-conformities? ETCO holder equal design approval holder vis-a-vis integrator.
Well, that's no, conceptually, there is no difference between the introduction of a change to an ETSO article or the approval of a concession on a manufactured article. So the logic is the same. The approval of the non-conformity at the level of the ETSO article might have to be evaluated by the integrator in case there are limitations introduced. If there is an effect on the performances of the article with respect to the non-conformity. I hope that this is the question, if I understand well the question. Was this the intent of the question?
No.
No.
The goal
Someone who wants to clarify? Yeah.
The goal is to, what is the sharing between the integrator and the ETS holder, because agree we have deviation. The type design is under the ETS holder, and
the type design is not under the ETS, it is under the product type.
The design approval holder is the ETS holder.
Yes, but I don't understand again.
Who shall approve the concession in this case?
Well, first the ETSO approval holder, and then also accepted by the integrator in case there are impact on the DDP, let's put it in this way, right? Because if you have an impact on DDP, you might have installation issues. So I believe that this is the difference. Other questions?
We can go on the second one. do you consider DOA involvement for the NC disposition decision, or is that within the perimeter of an approved POA?
As I said initially, both can be true. You may have decisions that are taken within the production environment, so by the production organization, based on approved data or based on on the fact that the decision will not affect essentially the installation. If you scrap the part, you don't need to go to the design approval holder to ask if the part can be scrapped. Or if it can be reworked to restore full conformity, and this rework does not affect the performance of the part. And normally this is typically the case. It cannot be always possible. That's why when it goes beyond certain, let's say, established conditions, there must be a concession requested to the design approval holder. So both can be true.